Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to another Tea with JD. Ginger black peach tea from Allegro, and it is organic. Ew. Completely organic. This is actually. I do a lot of tags, but I have tags for next week. And I did the top 5 Wednesdays. So, this is actually an AuthorTube discussion of women in writing. I don't refer to authors, although I do follow a lot and I did share a lot of kick-ass authors, female authors, on Twitter. Because more people should read these badass women, not because they're women, but because they're badass. So, this is more on the lines of women in my writing, on how I treat female characters and whatnot. Firstly, with the exception of one blank comic, which is Lily Stargazer, I don't have a female lead yet. But I do have a lot of female characters. Why don't I have a female lead yet? Because I'm a dude. And although I'm writing from female perspectives, I do take that very seriously. And for a project where the lead is going to be a young lass and it's going to be in Spanish, I do want to have a good pool of people that I can touch base with to make sure that I do something properly. Whoa. Let's see. This is my microphone. Super fancy. Not gonna edit that out, but I did want to show that I'm geek and I'm proud. And also, it looks cool keeping the tea here. Oh God, see? On the fly. As I was saying, I don't have a female lead apart from Lily Stargazer because I do want to get the feedback of a couple of people and make sure that I do it proper like and not something that wouldn't be relatable or wouldn't be believable or would be misconstrued because for however much I try, I'm still gonna come via a male perspective. Yes, I am. I'm all for equality. I'm a feminist and whatnot, but I'm still a guy. So I always try to have really deep conversations with women about women topics just to understand better. A lot of people say, nonchalantly, "Oh, are you on your period?" And I think that's a dick thing to say because that's belittling the entire menstrual process, and as if women aren't in control. Because last I checked, guys also have hormonal cycles, and when we're assholes, we're just asked if we're assholes. Back to the topic. So, women in my writing, I do include a wide variety of women, and I do try to offer really strong women as the characters. Mom is a strong woman. Captain Jane, my wife, is a strong woman. Some of my closest friends are strong women. Kate Evans is a cancer survivor. She's one of the strongest women I know. And I'll talk about, I'll talk about this now. I have a really good friend. I actually have several friends who've gone through this, but one whom I've lost touch with because life is life. Unfortunately, when she was 15, she was actually sexually assaulted. And to me, by the way, sexual assault should be punishable by death. But that's me. That's a bit extreme, but it is premeditated and it is just one of the vilest things that you can do as a human being. I think it's worse than murder, but that's just me. So, she went through this, and part of the way that she overcame it was going to the prison to visit the guy, ask for an audience, and then sitting in front of the guy who assaulted her, say, I forgive you, and have a conversation that she needed to do that so that she could go on. And seeing the guy, yeah, he got forgiveness and whatnot, and I wouldn't have given it that. But it just goes to show that she's more of a man than me. And she's one of the strongest females I know. So, I do have a wide variety of female characters. A particular group of characters are the Corsairs. Corsairs are vampire pirates. All the female vampires are the main ones. The men, there are male Corsairs, but they are rarely mentioned because they basically help out with X or Y thing, or work at another place where we see in book 2. Not gonna spoil it. But they are all survivors of sexual assault, and in the process, they decide how they deal with the person in question. They can either forgive the person and give them a pardon, or kill them, or whatever. I bring that topic because it's not something that I'm comfortable with, and since I'm not comfortable with it, I wanted to write about it. A couple of people have asked me about the sexuality of the Corsairs and sexuality in my human cycle in general. The thing is that part of our human nature is sexuality. I know that some people are, I'm not sure of the term, but it's basically asexual. They don't have sexual desire or urges for either sex. I'm not sure. I've seen a booktuber that does that. She has a fascinating channel, and I'm totally blanking on her name. But I was called into question for a couple of scenes in book 1 and book 2. Yes, there are sex scenes in both books. They're not super duper graphic, but they are sex scenes. The Corsairs in book 1 do indulge in sexuality, and someone asked me why. There's various layers to that answer. First part of the answer, if you read Dracula and you're familiar with the story, the whole bride thing, the brides, the three women who were monsters, was always funny to me for several reasons. First off, I was a teen, and I was like, wow, I would have loved to have been in that situation. So this is me mocking my teen self, in part, and also mocking Dracula, because the scene was like uncomfortable, and I thought that was funny. Second off, I did want to show that aspect that survivors are completely invited to explore and express their sexuality. Tori Amos is one of my favorite artists, and she was unfortunately assaulted, and she definitely expresses her sexual side. To me, that's very important because I've seen way too many times where survivors are treated and branded and belittled. It's like, it's not enough that this horrible thing happened. People treat them like shit. I don't see the logic in it. And I have enough friends who have gone through things like this that are amazing women for me to think that it's okay. So I also express that because there's no reason whatsoever that a person who has been sexually assaulted cannot recover to the point of leading a normal life. And that's part of the message that I'm saying. Some people might think it's me overthinking things, but if you ever wanted to know the reason for it, that's it. Some people have been uncomfortable with it, but I also wanted to show a variety of men and women. And some people are very sexual in nature, while others are frigid. And that's their right. It's their right to be however they want to be, no matter their gender, by the way. My female characters are self-sufficient, and often they're the heroes. In one major battle, if it wasn't for Captain Jane, pretty much everyone dies, and that happens, you know, a lot of times, be it with Captain Jane, or the sacrifices of other characters, or the interventions of Mrs. Fawn, of the Lady Chillo, of Valencia. Valencia in book two is a badass, and I loved writing her because she was a strong, silent woman. It's always the strong, silent types are always guys. No, Valencia is the strong, silent woman, and she's badass. Estelle Mishop, super badass. And when you have a woman with Tommy guns taking matters into her own hand, yeah, badass. And I like badass female characters that don't need someone to save them, because I know way too many women who don't need someone to save them and don't need a man to save them. I'm not saying it's not good to save the princess. I'm just saying that the princess sometimes doesn't need saving and will sometimes save your ass. Hence why we adore Princess Leia. Yeah, Leia got saved on occasions, but how many times did she save the day? Um, Rosie is based on a song. I'm not gonna say where. It's based on she's based on a song, and she has a brothel. Again, I come with these topics because if you talk to enough people, you hear some insane stories. And not judging people on what they do with their time or their background or anything is one of the most enriching things that I've ever decided to do. Uh, uh, I've met really random people, and I'm not one to judge what they do. All I know is that there are so many women that can do so many things that do not have the balls for. But my female characters are the ones who are in the story are rarely weak. Yes, there can be situations where innocents are victims, but the people who participate in the story, often the women are stronger, or as strong or stronger or smarter or something. It's not all the men are the guys with the blades. And the Corsairs are badasses. Simply badasses. And and again, it's all about variety and showing that a woman isn't just a romantic interest. They're more, as humans, we're so much more complicated. And thinking of how many female characters my next two books have, more than half of the characters, I'm pretty sure, are female. I think the sci-fi novella Natural Intelligence, it's half and half. I can't do a count right now. I don't have the characters in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it's half and half, or pretty equally distributed. And in codenamed The Boy Who Dreams About Flying, there are several. There's 3, 5, 6. There can probably be like maybe 10 female characters, and they're always interesting. And they're not, oh my god, I'm so blah 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 and flowery. And there are very female characters in the traditional and non-traditional senses, because there's no such thing as some person being more or less female. We are more of a certain thing or more of another thing, but that does not mean that one woman is more female than another. The same that it doesn't mean that one man is more man than the other. Although there are certain criteria. If you feel embarrassed that you like any song by a female artist, or maybe something that's top 40, and you can't say it, and you listen to it in a corner, you're kind of a pussy. If you like what you like, I like what I love Tori Amos, I love Bjork. Annie DeFranco has influenced my poetry, and my writing, and she will get a character worthy of her. And I like that, and I like bubble baths, and I like red wine and white wine, and I like champagne. That doesn't make me less of a man. It's like, yeah, I got a swagger. No. And the same thing with females. I have met such a wide variety of people. From Christian women in Christian groups who lead prayer groups to bodybuilders and CrossFit experts, people who are into fitness, who are into yoga, who are into acrobatics, musicians, professionals, as in the execs, higher ups, VPs. I've met, so many types of people that to me there's no single definition of what makes woman or what makes man. It's all a lot more complicated than that. And that's why even a short story that I did a collaboration with recently, or last year, not recently, a couple of months back, or maybe more, with Karen Oren. There's actually a gender bending character because we don't know. And at least from my characters, you will get a variety. It's not all female characters aren't going to be a certain way. All male characters aren't going to be a certain way. You're going to see variety. And the female characters, my hope is that women identify with them, and even men identify with them, because they're strong characters. They're strong characters with character, so to speak. So that's an overview of my view of females in my writing. I will make several female leads, but again, I have to see the proper medium, and before I release those, I will get the okay of people who can give me that perspective, because to me it's very important. I know a lot of damsels that are not in distress, so I'm not going to write about a damsel in distress. Anyways, these are my thoughts. If you have any comments, by all means, look at the area below. It's so inviting and enticing to enter this conversation, so by all means, enter this conversation. If you have any questions about my characters or about anything else that I do research-wise, by all means, ask. So until next time, I hope you're enjoying your tea, and peace, love, and maki rolls.